His team getting that paint.
Maxey with the steal off a Monk, and he slams for two.
Hurts looking left, lofting left, going for the end zone, and he's caught.
Go to work.
Embiid foul, count it! Joel Embiid.
Defense is what you're looking for.
With 5, Hurts taking a deep shot, he's done his
work. Fox blocks. Wow, great defensive play.
What is up, everybody? What is going on? It is Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Welcome to Party on Broad. Party on Broad can be found anywhere you get your podcast. If you're watching us live, please be sure to smash that like and subscribe button, comment, ask us questions. Today, we are continuing to break down this Eagles versus Buccaneers game on Sunday. I'm sure by Sunday, we probably won't have anything else to talk about, but I'm bringing in one of the best of the best. My man, Brenden Deeg, he's a co-host of the Double Doink podcast. He's a writer over at Football Betting News, nationalfootballpost.com. What's going on, Deeg?
I'm doing good, man. I'm looking forward to the weekend. It's been a long week.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot to talk about, so let's get going here. First question for you, man. What's your gut feeling with this Eagles game? Where are you at? Your head, your gut feeling with the Eagles matchup with the Bucs?
I want Jalen Hurts in the offense to play well. That's kind of the only, that's really what I'm looking for. I want to see this offense continue to play well against a good defense and a good team. It's going to be really interesting to see how this team reacts against a team that's they're 13-4. The Eagles haven't played a team with that record in a long time. So kind of just kind of wait and see, I guess. I want to see if this offense is exactly how it looks over the last 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. And then just be competitive. I just want them to be competitive. And I've already kind of not expecting a loss, but you're playing with house money at this point, right? The Eagles were not supposed to make the playoffs. No one really had them make the playoffs. I really don't think I've seen anyone had an Eagles playoff take before the season. So it's kind of playing with house money. See if they can be competitive. I think there's a window that they can win this game. There is a script where it does happen, but again, they are 8.5-point underdogs. So just maybe keep the expectations a tad below, but I think they're going to be competitive in this game.
Yeah, that's exactly where my head is at too. I mean, as long as they don't get completely disrespected and blown out, if they make this a game, I'm already super positive about this season. This season was already a success. Yep. I fully agree with that. Jalen Hurts, I just want him to play well. I want him to show improvement in the pocket, going through his progressions, because he's going to have to. This Tampa Bay Bucs team is absolutely loaded. And the next question is Tom Brady, arguably the MVP of the NFL this year. It's amazing. He had, Chris Godwin miss time, who is his guy on third down. You've had Gronk miss some time. You've had Antonio Brown miss some time. And the guy still put up 43 touchdowns and 5,300 plus yards here. How do the Eagles game plan against Tom Brady?
So I really hope they don't sit back and kind of let him pick them apart. We've seen that kind of when the Eagles have played good quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, you can even put in that list for this year. Tom Brady earlier in the year against Tampa, they've completed average over 80% of their passes. And the Eagles defense has been kind of just sitting back, letting them take everything in front of them. But it hasn't worked very well against good quarterbacks. The Eagles defense has been the tale of two defenses, good quarterbacks versus bad quarterbacks. Yep. And I really just want Jonathan Gannon and the Eagles defense to try new stuff, try to attack them. Don't sit back and let them pick you apart. A stat that I found interesting, Tom Brady is 23rd in the NFL this year in EPA per play against the blitz. So he has struggled this year with pressure in his face. So, look, I don't think you can be blitzing him a ton. Historically, Tom Brady's been one of the quarterbacks where you don't want to send pressure against because he can pick you apart. But this year, it's been kind of different. And he hasn't played a lot without Antonio Brown or Chris Godwin. This Bucs offense is still kind of fresh to him, or this version of the Bucs offense is still kind of fresh to Tom Brady. They've only played a couple of games without those guys. They almost lost to the Jets. I believe it was 2 weeks ago when Antonio Brown left. So he still hasn't kind of had it all figured out. And I do think Leonard Fournette is going to be a massive player for the Bucs in this game. He was huge against the Eagles back in week 6. He had a monster day in the screen game. The Bucs threw a ton of screen passes in that game. They were just trying to attack kind of second level of the Eagles defense with the ball in their hands. So I think you don't want to sit back, and you got to get pressure with 4. I know it's like the old tale as old as time. Get pressure with 4 against Tom Brady. It's what everyone wants to do. It's what everyone always says, but it's so true in this game. And I'm curious to see how Josh Sweat's feeling. I'm kind of curious to see how this press conference with Sirianni goes in the next couple hours.
I am, in a full belief that Jonathan Gannon, this all comes down to Jonathan Gannon and his ability to disguise the blitz. We need a huge game from Hargrave and Fletcher Cox. Set the tone up the middle, get in Brady's face early, often, and just, get into Tom Brady's head from the jump. That is a huge storyline. And, after the first quarter, you look at the Tampa Bay Bucs, they're one of the highest scoring teams in the first and third quarters in the NFL. The Eagles have to be ready to respond to that. And you look at the Eagles' struggles in the first quarter. I think we're going to know offense, defensively, where the Eagles are at in this first quarter. Next question, man. Other than Tom Brady, what is a player or a position that concerns you the most about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Rob Gronkowski. I think they're gonna run the offense through him.
Yeah,
they didn't. So I went back and watched the game against Week 6. They didn't have Gronk, but they still kind of ran a similar game plan that I think they're going to run here. And what I mean by that is they ran a ton of play action pass and throwing through the middle and screen passes. What that says is they're trying to attack the linebackers and the safeties of this Eagles defense. And I'm assuming they're going to do the same here. They ran a ton of play action pass with Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin coming over the middle. That was kind of their bread and butter against the Eagles back in Week 6. I'm assuming they just swap out Antonio Brown and Godwin and use Gronk on play action through the middle, try to attack the linebackers. The entire offense is going to run through him. So I do anytime touchdown articles, and I do an anytime touchdown show every week. So I'm kind of always looking at what positions allow the most touchdowns to certain positions. So Eagles allow the most touchdowns to tight ends this year and hasn't really been close for the entire year. They've been the worst team against tight ends. And I'm assuming the Bucs know that, and they're going to try to attack that. So I think Rob Gronkowski is the guy. I think you try to let Mike Evans beat you on the outside. Let Darius Slay go one-on-one with Evans. Try to take out Gronk and see let the Bucs try to attack that matchup. If you lose from them attacking Darius Slay, you did your best. I don't think you want to let Rob Gronkowski beat you over the middle.
Yeah, this is one of those games that I'm okay if, you look at the Bucs, they're with the most explosive offense in the league. They have the most explosive plays in the league. I'm okay if they get beat over the top in this game. What concerns me is the short game. Gannon cannot let Tom Brady just pick you apart between the sticks. You look at Week 6 and you look at kind of how the Bucs just ate in that screen game. Brady was nearly 100% completion percentage within 10 yards. And you look at how they were just completely able to destroy the Eagles screen game and anything between the sticks. So for me, the linebackers, those Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebackers are extremely good. You look at Levante David, looks like he's going to be playing. They're a very talented group. They're going to be in Jalen Hurts' face. And Jalen Hurts under pressure, that is a major storyline in this game. He's got to be accurate. Jalen Hurts had his second worst completion percentage on Week 6 against the Bucs. And I think it's because of those amazing linebackers, and they really got in his head. So it's going to be a really tough matchup. All right, let's go to the other side. What is an area that the Eagles have an advantage over the Bucs here that no one is talking about?
Okay, so I dug up this stat yesterday again because I do my anytime touchdowns. I always see what teams against certain positions are doing. The Buccaneers have allowed the 4th most rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks. So Josh Allen torched them back in Week 14 on the ground. He kept using his legs, kind of got them back in that game. They ultimately lost, but Josh Allen was terrific on the ground. I think Jalen Hurts' legs is going to be the story of this game. If he can break off maybe a couple 10, 15, 20-yard runs, it will open up the offense huge. And you brought up the linebackers. Levante David hasn't played in a while. He's hurt. He's been banged up. I actually don't know if he's going to be 100% or even if he does play. He was activated off IR. They're saying he's going to be questionable. I think he's going to be limited. I don't think he's fully healthy. They're going to probably maybe force him back. So I'm assuming that Devin White is going to be kind of the leader of that defense this week. And I had Greg Allman, a Buccaneers writer for The Athletic, on my show earlier this week. And he said one of the biggest problems with Levante David out is Devin White has to take over the leadership of that defense. He has to make all the play calls. He has to make sure all the cornerbacks are in the right place. The safeties are in the right place. Defensive line know which gap to hit. And that's not his style. Devin White's more of a just a go attack the ball type of linebacker. So if Levante David is limited in any way, I think that opens up the run game, especially for Jalen Hurts. Linebackers hate having to cover for a running quarterback. And I think what else is going to happen, they're going to play a ton of zone defense in this game, because if you play man-to-man against Jalen Hurts, your back's turned, he can take off and run. I'm assuming the Bucs want to stop that. And that also opens up the zone for Devontae Smith on the outside. He would rather pick apart zone defenses than maybe go man-to-man. So I think there are some holes on this Buccaneers defense that the Eagles can take advantage of.
Yes. And last but not least, man, what is your score prediction for Sunday game? Where's your head at?
Okay, so I'm not going to pick an Eagles victory, unfortunately. I'm sorry, guys. I do think they're going to be competitive. I do think this is going to be a good game. I do think the Bucs are getting a tad overrated when it comes to betting wise. They were 8.5-point favorites as of last night. I haven't checked the books this morning, but so let's go off the 8.5. I think the Eagles cover, so I do think they're going to cover. If you want to make, I think there's great value on the Eagles spread right now. I'm just double checking the line here. Sorry. The Eagles are still 8.5-point underdogs. Okay. So I think they cover the 8.5-point underdogs. I predicted 31 Bucs, 24 Eagles. I think they cover. I think the Bucs come down the field, unfortunately, on a last minute towards the end of the game, score a touchdown. Eagles can't go back and tie it up. So I think it's going to be a competitive game. And I also think no matter what happens, Eagles fans should be happy with the way the season went.
I'd be ecstatic. I was on the show last night, and my prediction was 31-27. That's really funny.
Okay.
I do think it's going to be a close game. I do think I expect Jalen Hurts to rise to the occasion here. I think those intangibles are really going to shine on Sunday. And Sirianni, I want to see more Darius Slay in the backfield. I want to see more creativity on offense.
Yep.
I want to see this Eagles offensive line dominate like they did against the New Orleans Saints rushing defense. I want to see that. Like, I hope the Eagles stay to their script and what's made them successful on offense over the last several weeks. So we'll see, man. But I just want to say, do you have a response to that?
No, I think you're 100% right. I think there's a lot of upside or just kind of potential to the coaches to get juiced up or jacked up in the media after this game. Like if Jonathan Gannon comes out, not shuts out Tom Brady, but puts a game plan out to kind of slow down Brady, he's going to get so much love from national media. Coaches or teams are probably going to call him and maybe get him on the phone or get him in person for an interview. And then like if Sirianni wins this game, like going into Tampa, beating the defending Super Bowl champions, and it was a rookie head coach, basically a rookie quarterback with a roster that's not a top 10 roster in the NFL, like Sirianni deserves all the credit in the world already. If he does win this game, their egos and their limelight will be juiced up a ton.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of reasons to be excited as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, but if they make this game a competitive game, if they get in Tom Brady's head and rattle him a little bit, man, and they still lose, I'm good, man. I'm good. We got 3 first-round picks in a few months. You've got salary cap now to kind of rebuild this roster, especially defensively. But thank you so much for joining, Deeg. Like, where can we find you, man? What do you got going on?
So you can follow me at Brenden Deeg NFP on Twitter. Make sure to check out the National Football Post as well. I have game previews for 3 of the games this week, and I have an anytime touchdown picks. Those were just edited and uploaded this morning, so you can check that out if you want to win some money on touchdown bets this weekend. Also, check out the Double Doink podcast. Did a ton of work this week on there. Greg Allman of The Athletic, Buccaneers writers. If you want to get kind of from their side of things, you can check that out. Mike Clay of ESPN was also on earlier this week. And I had Thomas Peterson on Breaking the Birds YouTube channel. We broke down, did an entire preview of Eagles vs. Bucs. So if you want to check that out, make sure you do that. And subscribe to the YouTube channel and Apple and Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast.
Crushed it, man. Absolutely crushed it. My man Deeg, at Brenden Deeg, NFP on Twitter. Go give him a follow. Follow the Double Doink podcast. Everything just crushes it. Thank you so much for joining, dude.
Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
All right, take it easy, dude. All right. Up next, we've got my man. He is the host of the Chalk Talk podcast here at the Painted Lines as our Eagles versus Bucs preview continues. What's going on, Shane?
What's up, Dives? How are you doing today?
Doing well, man. It's Friday. I'm done for the week, and I'm going to see Scream in a couple hours. So I heard it's really good. So you got football, you got Scream. I'm a big horror movie buff. So everything's good, man. How about yourself?
Going pretty good. We rolled into season 2 of Ted Lasso last night. So I don't know. It's going to be a hard call between watching some of these playoff games and finishing season 2.
Yeah. Ted Lasso is like Cobra Kai. Like you're gonna finish that probably by the end of tomorrow. There's no question. Like,
it's been great.
Yeah,
I want the prequel now about like his college coaching days. That's what I want. That's got to come out next.
Yeah, that show just crushed. That is like the ultimate binge show where you just cannot stop. It's like cocaine. It's like I need more Ted Lasso. It's so funny and heartwarming, and it's great. But let's talk Birds, man. Just like I asked Deeg, where are you sitting, man? What's your gut tell you about this game on Sunday?
I feel like at this point the Eagles are playing with house money. The fact that they got here with a rookie head coach, first-time play caller on defense at the coordinator position. You've got Jalen Hurts, a quarterback that people didn't believe in, really with his first full year as a starter. You had massive cap hit penalties. You had this team being said, it was one of the bottom 5 rosters in the NFL, and that Jalen Hurts was even outside of some people's top 40 quarterback ratings, not to name names, but for them to start 2-5 and to rally to where they're at right now, regardless of the outcome on Sunday, and we're going to get to that, I think you have to feel good about the season. You've got to feel good about the team and what the roster and particularly, the head coach has shown. I don't think people expected this from Sirianni. A lot of people poked fun at him after his introductory press conference, which was just kind of absurd, but he came into a skeptical fan base and a pretty poor position, and he's in the playoffs. And so you've got to be excited about that. You've got to be excited about the future. Now, as for the game on Sunday, I think the Eagles have a shot in this game. I think they're a 7 seed for a reason, and the Bucs are a 2 seed for a reason. And so this is going to be a situation where you're going to have to come in and you're going to have to play nearly flawless football, and you're probably going to have to catch a couple of breaks. And that doesn't sound the most optimistic, but if I told Eagles fans, week 5 or week 6, hey, you're going to be in a playoff game, we would have taken that. And so I'm excited about it. I think they've got a shot. I'm not writing it off like a lot of the national media appears to be, but we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Deeg was the same way as well. Like, this is house money. This is the least amount of stress I've had for an Eagles playoff game in probably forever. Like, I feel good. Usually I'm like nauseous at this time. Usually like I can't sleep. I just like clean the entire house. I'm cooking all day long because I just have to do something. I don't feel that. Like I'm just excited. I'd probably say I'm like 80% excited, 20% anxiety, which is like not me. That is not me typically. So let's go to this next. Oh, we have a comment. Pedro says, excited about the Eagles' future. It would be great not losing with a blowout. If we make a good draft this year, especially 3 first-round picks, the Eagles will have a bright future. So, that's my gut feeling. Is I'm good, man. The Eagles have shown me enough. Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, this Eagles offensive line. They certainly have holes, and they have a long way to go. But I mean, what a turnaround from last year, no doubt. All right, same question to Deeg. Like, how would you expect the Jonathan Gannon and the Eagles to game plan against slow down or try to contain Tom Brady?
I think there's a few things. So I kind of did a deep dive on Chalk Talk into all the different matchups and the game plans I would put out as those teams. But for the Eagles, I think there's 2 things that they need to do. The first thing is you can't blitz Tom Brady. Only 1.7% of blitzes against Brady resulted in a sack this year. So his time to throw was 2.5 seconds on the season as a whole, which was the second fastest in the league. This is a guy that gets the ball out quick. And so blitzing is just going to play into his hands. You're not going to throw anything at him he hasn't seen. He's just going to find the open receiver. So I don't think you can blitz. I do think that you can set up some simulated pressure packages, though. Mug linebackers in the A-gaps, have some overhang defenders, and not necessarily send pressure. I mean, you do it every once in a while to keep them honest, but if you can confuse the offensive line, you show 6 and you only send 4, it becomes a little bit of a guessing game, and maybe you can get some free runners that way. I also think –
go
ahead.
No, that's exactly what I said with Deeg. Like, this game boils down to Jonathan Gannon's ability to disguise different, looks at Tom Brady. Like that, he has to keep Tom Brady guessing every single possession for me. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And then I think you got to get up and play press coverage. The Buccaneers are content. Tom Brady's content to execute a 15-play drive with checkdowns the whole way. And That's what the Eagles have made teams do this year. Well, Brady's going to do that. He's made a whole career out of doing it. And so you've got to play press coverage, get up and disrupt that timing. Now, that's not to say the Eagles can't, or the Buccaneers can't throw it deep. They have the highest number of 20-plus yard passing plays in the NFL this year. So don't mistake the fact that they can throw the ball deep too. But you look at the Saints who really gave Brady fits. And what they did is they put Marshawn Lattimore out there on Mike Evans. They put Malcolm Jenkins on Rob Gronkowski, which obviously the Eagles don't have somebody that can do that. But they disrupted routes. They disrupted timing. And they played a lot of cover one man where they had a safety diving down into the box to take off these crossers. And so I think you need to see those sort of looks. I want Darius Slay to shadow Mike Evans, which is not something that happened the first time they played. Although the first time they played, they also had Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin. So I think you shadow Evans with Slay. Sometimes the Buccaneers like to go like a 3-by-1 set with Gronkowski isolated on one side out wide, and then they'll put Evans in the slot. And I think when they do that, you might need to just leave Slay on Gronk. Like they don't have a safety that can come down there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle what the Buccaneers throw at them package-wise, because I don't think they're going to be content to just line Evans up outside and match him up on Slay. They're going to try to move him around. And Jonathan Gannon's going to have adjustments for that.
Absolutely. Jonathan Heim says it's a playoff game, just like Heineke gave them a competitive game. We're better than that team. And he thinks it's going to be a close, winnable game, but he's not picking against Tom Brady. Just kind of like piggybacking off of that. How do the Eagles slow down Gronk? Is it Avonte Maddox? Like what would you do if you're Gannon with Gronk? Because like my nightmare is, the Bucs getting a lot of third and shorts, and the Eagles having no answer to slow down Gronk in those kind of situations.
I think Avonte Maddox would probably get bullied by Gronkowski. I don't think that's an ideal matchup. I think what you want to do, like I said, I think when he's split out outside, I would probably just put Slay on him. And then you can sort of, bracket Gronk with, bracket Evans with have Maddox lined up inside, Nelson on the outside, and you just, whichever way he releases, you go with that. And that's not how you want to make a living doing that. But when they do that, you got to trust those guys can cover Evans for a few plays. But in a more traditional sense, when Gronk is in line or, he's in the slot, I think I would probably try to bracket him with, put Edwards on the inside. You've got Harris on the outside. I think your key to winning this game is Slay needs to be able to shut down Evans, and then you need to be able to double team Gronk and make somebody else beat you.
Any other player or positions that concern you the most about the Tampa Bay Bucs?
On the offense, they really they've got 3 tight ends. It's not just Gronk. They also have, OJ Howard. They have Cameron Brate, and they've started to get more heavy personnel now that they've run into so many wide receiver injuries. And so I think they're going to see a mismatch with the Eagles in terms of our safeties and linebackers. I would not be surprised to see them go a lot of 12 and 13 personnel in this game. And so I think that's something to watch for. Flipping it over to the defensive side of the ball for the Buccaneers, I'm interested to watch Antoine Winfield try to match up with Dallas Goedert. That's a matchup that the Eagles really need Goedert to win. And then Shaquille Barrett, who rushes off of both sides, but I would expect him to be primarily matched up with Jordan Mailata. Barrett's more of a finesse, a speed rusher, and Jordan Mailata's played really good this year, but if there's a hole in his game, it's handling speed rushers. He stonewalls power rushers. But I think that's going to be a matchup to keep an eye on as well when the Eagles have the ball.
Love it. Jonathan Heim says, chip Gronk, then pray and hope for the best. I love that comment. Pedro says, here in Brazil, all the TV programs about the NFL put the Eagles in the bottom 5 of the league this year. You have no idea how happy I will be if they beat the Bucs. Man, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be just as much as we dogged this Eagles defense, Jonathan Gannon, he comes out and has a day and he slows down the Bucs and the Eagles win. It would be just monumental, just absolutely monumental for the future of this program. What's an area that you think the Eagles have an advantage over the Bucs that no one is talking about? These are kind of tough to find because you look at the lines, like the Eagles are really strong on the lines, but so are the Bucs, probably a lot better. So what's your take on this?
I don't know that nobody's talking about it, but Jeff Stoutland is a huge factor in this game. He's the run game coordinator for the Eagles. The things he's able to dial up in the running game for the Eagles. A lot of people watch and they just see, the Eagles pounding the ball, but there's so much nuance and creativity to what they do in the running game and the way that he designs concepts to play off of each other. And if the Eagles are going to run the ball successfully, that's something they're going to have to do. I mean, we talk about what a good run defense that Tampa is. They got the third best run defense in yards per game, but that's inflated a little bit. I tweeted this out earlier, but they're only 15th in yards per carry. They're 12th in DVOA. This is a team you can run the ball on. I think people are just afraid to do it or they get behind early. To me, I think you want to see, a lot of trap type plays, things like that early in this game. Blocking Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh head up, that's not a winning proposition. Yeah. But you get Landon Dickerson pulling and hitting that guy from the side, it's a lot easier to move a guy sideways than backwards. And so I think you're going to see a lot of things designed around that early in the game. People have done that to Aaron Donald for years. We've seen it to Fletcher Cox before. These guys that are difficult to block man on a man, you hit them from the side and all of a sudden they don't fire off the ball as quickly. And so I think you're going to see that early. And I think they're going to try to get Hurts out on the edge, whether that be in read options and bootlegs, just to utilize his mobility. And so I think Jeff Stoutland and what he can scheme up in this running game is probably one of the biggest X factors in this game.
Couldn't agree more, man. Well freaking said. Joe says, keep an eye on Leonard Fournette. Last 6 games played over 6 targets out of the backfield. Brady will be dumping it off to him a lot on Sunday. That's what we saw in week 6, man. Check down. The Eagles need to have an answer for that. The Bucs were able to completely take away the Eagles short game, the screen game. We need to flip that this week because the Eagles defensively had no answers in week 6. So our next question of this is score predictions, man. Score predictions. Where you at?
I'm feeling somewhere around like 27-24 Tampa Bay. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a close game. I pounded the Eagles plus 8.5 as soon as that line came out. I think that's a great bet for this week. The Eagles have the first time they played, they only lost by 6. The Eagles have only lost by a touchdown or more 3 times this year, and they were all 3 in the first 7 weeks of the season. So this is a team that keeps games close. I think that it's going to be a shortened game with the running that the Eagles are going to do. And so I love the Eagles plus 8.5 in this game. Can they win the game? I absolutely think they can, but I would feel a little delusional if I sat here and picked them. You'd be picking against the reigning Super Bowl champs who brought everybody back and have the greatest quarterback of all time. So I certainly think there's a chance. I certainly think the weather could benefit the Eagles in this game. Wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles win, but I'm going to take the Bucs 27-24.
Yeah, I think we'll know from the jump, from the first quarter, that like I said with Deeg, the Bucs are a high scoring offense in the first and third quarters. You're going against Tom Brady, one of the best at just finding mismatches and exploiting it again and again and again. It's like kind of pick your poison. Like who is Tom Brady going to find out there on Sunday and just go to him every single time. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm in that 31-27 range. I do think the Bucs win eventually. I just don't know how we're going to slow down Gronk at this time. We'll see on Sunday, but I think we'll know from that first quarter, man, can Hargrave and Fletcher Cox get in Tom Brady's face and vice versa? Like which offensive line is protecting the best and setting the tone of this game? So thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, talking about, injury luck, getting healthy at the right time. If Levante David plays in this game, this will be the first time since week 1 that all 11 Bucs starters on defense have been on the field at the same time. So you can look at it as they're getting healthy at the right time. You could also look at it that, hey, there might be a little bit of, lack of chemistry, lack of communication there. So that could be something to look at for the Eagles to try to exploit as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Joe says, looking like the weather is changing a bit. Only a 30% chance of rain now, but high winds. Interesting. Okay. Joe says, I am hoping the Eagles can win, especially with the weather. Which team can kind of own time of possession? That's why I'm okay with allowing the Bucs to have those explosive plays downfield, man. I need to see the Eagles truly cement time of possession and win at the line of scrimmage. I think that is massive, especially come third quarter, fourth quarter, and just grinding this team as the Eagles try and get a W here. So thank you so much for joining. Let's wrap it up, man. Where can we find it, bro?
You can find me on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. I live tweet during the game, send out clips and all kinds of random analytic stats that make people call me a nerd all week. So check that out. You can also check out on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts, Chalk Talk. I do a full preview and review of each week NFL action. We'll start to transition into the offseason and draft stuff soon. But I just uploaded yesterday a podcast where I went down, I went in depth on each of the playoff matchups and kind of broke down what each team needs to do to win. So if you want to hear more thoughts on the Eagles or any of the other games, be sure you check that out too.
Chalk Talk. Make sure you check it out. Awesome content. I will be dropping my top 10 edge rushers video for the upcoming NFL draft. That will be coming out today. It takes a lot of work to put into these videos, but it's like a legit 20 minutes of videos and film breakdown and all that kind of stuff. So that's coming. And then next week, I'll have my cornerback ranking. Of course, we'll have Eagles post-game show on Sunday. That's going to be a ton of fun. So I'll be joining another show. I'll post the link in our YouTube channel. I'm joining another show at 8 tonight to continue just talking about Eagles and Bucs. I'm going to be sick of talking about it, man. By the time Sunday comes, I'm just be like, just get to the game already.
I'm already ready. I wish it was Saturday. I wish we could get this going.
Hell yeah, man. Anyway, he is Shane. Follow him on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. I am Dives. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Stay awesome.
This team getting that paint.
Maxey with the steal off a monk, and he slams for 2.
Hurts looking left, lofting left, going for the end zone, and he's caught.
Go to work.
Embiid foul, count it! Joel Embiid.
Defense is what you're looking for.
At 5, Hurts taking a deep shot. He's done his work.
Fox blocked. Wow, great defensive play